now we talk about the wide receivers. So I only did a big board of the top 10. I don't think I told you guys that beforehand. So if you guys have more, that's cool. But I only did a top 10 because we did top 10 for O-line and figured that we could go, But I did watch more people. I think I deleted the list, though, after I created my top 10, though. So,
I'll have you guys know that I'm pumped. It is very true. Mary had heard me through the walls and texted me, "Are you okay?" So that's how excited I am to talk about this stuff.
He's pumped.
So,
Dude's pumped.
Yeah, pumped. And I'm very excited.
Pumped.
Yes.
All right, so I think Matt's got to start, right? Because he's on the bottom now. Because you were on the bottom last week, and you started, right? Is that what's going on?
I had just started just because I like talking about O-line. But yeah, I'm fine with starting with Matt. If Matt wants to start at 10, I can start whatever. So
yeah.
I heard you go.
Matt.
Yeah, so we got to get honorable mentions out of the way. Guys I like into day 3. Daquan Felton out of Virginia Tech. Height, length, speed guy, 6'5", ran 4.5 exactly. Love the intangibles. If you enter day 3, I think he has the prototype X receiver build. Kyle Williams out of Washington State is another guy I just loved watching on tape. Quick vertical separator with great ball tracking. I was just very impressed with him with John Mateer this year, who transferred to OU. And then lastly, Dante Thornton Jr. out of Tennessee. Long, smooth glider with length and strength to create his space downfield. The guy averaged like 25 yards a catch this season with Tennessee, and he only played 300 snaps. So he's going to be a limited role player. All 3 of these guys are kind of limited role players, but just guys I wanted to mention. And then long vertical athletes, I had 11, 12, and 13. Tre Harris at 11, just missed the cut. Savion Williams at 12, just missed the cut. And 13, Pat Bryant out of Illinois. So, do you want me to start with 10?
Well, since you're talking about honorable mentions, I'll kind of get into the guys that had just missed my cut. Mm-hmm. I had 14 guys I ended up scouting, so 4 of them just missed the cut. I'm gonna not talk about 13 because we will talk about him, and I'm just much lower on him than the rest. But I had Pat Bryant at 14. This mystery wide receiver at 13. Restrepo at 12 reminds me a lot of my guy that I have at 13. He's just very gritty player, but kind of lacks that verticality that you'd hope from a smaller guy like that, but can really win underneath with play strength and route running. And then the last guy that just missed the cut, and it really hurt for me to not put him in here, was Isaiah Bond. Just a true deep threat in every definition. The man can just run and is just dangerous, and they're just going to have to keep a safety over him or you will be burnt. But yeah, it's small frame, had a little bit of injury questions, and then just couldn't really find the spot in the zone as well as I would have liked. But anyways, 10.
I almost missed it. There's 2 guys I'm out on. Below average athletes combined with small body types. Xavier Restrepo and Tez Johnson. You are not on my draft board. Just saying that now. So they missed the cut. Number 10, Isaiah Bond. Pros. He's tape fast. He just is. Didn't translate into true 4.1 speed that he wanted at the combine, but his top gear on tape was very noticeable for me, especially at Alabama. Had the injury issues with Texas this year. His unique release packages create separation quickly, and good luck. Good luck catching him once he gets downfield and hits that acceleration gear, man. Like, that's the stuff I'm talking about, the tape fast. Once he breaks that first wave, he could go for miles. Despite the tight frame, he showed a willingness to high point outside the frame. Had many times with Alabama catching, Milrose sprays and even Ewers sprays, things like that. So he has a catch radius, even though he's a smaller guy. And then, due to the dynamic explosiveness, projects as a dangerous yak threat. They didn't use him much like that with Texas as much as I like. I think he might have been the recipient of that Florida like the end around play with Ewers where he like fakes the handoff 3 different times and creates, 30 yards off of that. That's kind of like what I could project with Bond. And then last, like the cons, play strength due to small frame makes catching in traffic an issue. Ball tracking was average to inconsistent, and that was a red flag due to the size already. So like I can talk about how he flies down the field. If he had elite ball tracking, like I'd skyrocket him. But that was an issue for me down the field. And then lastly, needs to be smarter and less antsy finding the zone spots. He is so fast and he accelerates so quickly that I'm going to race and get to my spot. I'm going to race and get to the zone spot. Blah, blah, blah. And it kind of just left like add some nuance, cool it down, use quickness more than speed. And I think that could be coached up because I do like his athletic traits. The draft range I have for him, about a third round. I think once we hit the third round is when Isaiah Bond could fly off the board. Some people are going to have him higher a little bit because of the speed, but that's where I had him.
Yeah, sure. We view him the same. Well, we won't be shocked. At least you two won't be shocked. The one guy I have on my board that you don't, just because of the type of player I like. But yeah, we view him one and the same.
I had Isaiah Bond at 9. So, I mean, pretty close. The one thing, you said his frame is a massive concern, but, just kind of growing off of that as well. One of the things that I'm seeing as well is that, he can kind of be bumped off of his, overall track just because if there's a bigger corner right up in front of him, they can kind of, offset him just a little bit and slow it down. And so in the league where you're going to have some bigger sized, corners guarding him, it's going to be tough for him to create separation in the amount of time that he needs to for NFL speed. And so because of that, that's one of the reasons I would say why I have him, a little bit lower on my draft board. I do have like a similar projection as you do. The other thing, and I mean, I know I'm not supposed to like really stat watch for any of these guys, but he only had one 100+ yard receiving game in his whole entire college career. So, that is another thing that I would say is a concern. But, overall, I think you nailed it. I think that, when it comes to my points, I don't really think there's much for me to, add on. So,
yes. I'll go ahead and say my 10. This was the other guy that I referred to you guys that I'm a bit lower on than consensus. Jack Bech. He's a fun player. He's a gritty player. Really likes to get dirty. He has strong hands, very physical throughout the entire route and at the catch point, and really knows how to set up defenders with good route running, and is a very good blocker, but he's just not a top-end athlete that you'd like to see at the position of both an explosion and a long speed. He doesn't really create the separation off the line of scrimmage like at all. It's really tough. It's a lot of him just running. And then he's only had 1 year of really solid production. But like I said, I think he's a very gritty player, a tough player. And to be frank, the guy that he reminded me the most of when watching him was he gave me very, very heavy shades of Jordan Matthews. And Jordan Matthews was a very productive NFL wide receiver for a 4-year span with the Eagles, and was able to get it done with his physicality and, again, good route running, but just was not really able to produce within the yak and use his athleticism. So I have Jack Bech at 10.
Okay. I'll go ahead and add on just because Bond was Matt's 10. So Bech didn't make my top 10, I'll be honest with you. Jayden Higgins was my 10. And so, going through my notes with him, overall, I think that, for him, he had great body control overall. His ball tracking ability as well, I was very impressed with. And just to kind of go down a little bit more, his wingspan's pretty impressive. And not to mention, I mean, overall, the agility after the catch for his size is very impressive altogether. So, I think that it's kind of more of like a versatile guy, in my opinion, to where you can kind of line him up, wherever you want. But, I don't like him as much as I do other guys, which is why I have him a little bit lower. Overall, when it comes to like his weaknesses to me, you're thinking more limitations against press man coverage. That's one of the things that I look for, just because it's a huge thing. But I mean, just to kind of keep it short and sweet, Jayden Higgins, yeah, that's my number 10.
Yeah, Matt, do you want to get into Bech and then Jayden Higgins, and then I can get into Higgins?
Yeah, Bech I have at 8. The pros, smart route runner with decisive breaks, matched with zone feel. The body control and play strength at the catch point was all over the tape for me. He's a creative yak player. He shows the vision and the toughness to run forward and not kind of dance around and make things negative. He runs forward. We like that. And then he's an excellent blocker due to effort, leverage, and strength and angles. So I loved it. He was a gritty, tough dude. And with everything that's happened with Bech over the last few months, like, I think we're all rooting for the guy, no matter if he's on the top 10 list or not. Like, this dude has the tragedy, loses his brother in New Orleans due to that tragedy, comes out at the Senior Bowl, and he competed his ass off. He truly did. And I'm it's so easy to root for this player for me. Cons, he's a fine athlete, not overly explosive. I agree with Ben there. He didn't run the 40, so the top end speed could be a downside. Could be something he knows and we don't, or he doesn't want us to know. The body catches, has some flashes. Don't love that. Misses some yak opportunities because of it, because he's waiting on the ball. And then back-to-back season-ending injuries, but not a major concern due to the competition he had at the Senior Bowl and the Combine. He did the on-field workouts at the Combine, so I don't see the injury stuff being a major concern, but it was something that, it was up for me. And then Jayden Higgins, I had 5. So me and Ryan disagree there. Pros, elite frame and athletic tools at the next level. True 6'4" with 33-inch arms and sub 4'5", top level, lower body explosive numbers. His vert, his broad were pretty good. Has true route running prowess off the line of scrimmage and can find blind spots of the corner quickly. He can win quickly like Bond does, and he's 6'4". He just gets downfield in the hurry. Long strides for him. Body control as a whole was a plus for me. I liked it. Hands are sudden and soft at the catch point, showing the explosiveness when he gets rolling, when those long strides are going. He can get some yak opportunities because of those hands. And then great production the last 2 years before he transferred from, I think, Eastern Kentucky? Yes. I can't remember. Great production the last 2 years with over 2,100 yards and 15 touchdowns at Iowa State. Cons, for his size, he does not have insane play strength. It wasn't that good. The catch point stuff was an issue. Top end downfield separation is a minus. Has corners lose early and they can track him down. The elite second gear wasn't on display enough. Releases off press will need to get better at the next level. Even despite the size, I'm hesitant to drop him into the X role. That's why maybe I'm not higher on him, because he could just be a power slot with some, kick him out to the Z here and there. But I do want to see him run some dig routes, man, and get upfield, because I think the yak stuff is pretty good. So that's my thoughts on Higgins.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in between the two of you guys. He's 7 for me. Again, everything Matt had said. He has that elite size at 6'4". Ran well. I think he ran like a 4.44 or something like that. Again, has that elite body control. He has a positional versatility. He's lined up at every spot at the wide receiver, the X, Y, and Z. He does a good job finding that spot and zone and has that short area quickness. The flip side of that, and it was the very first thing that I had written down, for a guy his size, and Matt had mentioned it, he needs to attack that catch point way stronger than what he is right now. And it just irks me to no end. Again, he struggles when getting press off the line of scrimmage and doesn't really have the best release package. And then as a blocker, a guy that is his size, you'd hope he'd be able to sustain blocks a little bit longer. In total, I think he has good size, very soft hands, but needs to have a better release. And again, I think he's probably best suited to play that power slot position because of his inability to create separation off the line of scrimmage. So,
draft range for both of those guys. Apologies, yes. Jack Bech. My draft range is day 2, leaning more so to round 2 than round 3. I like him. And then Higgins, day 2, about the 40s to the 70s for me, just because the size is intriguing with the speed.
Yes. And then who was your number 9, Matt?
Ayomanor at 9. The pros, high points along the boundary at a great rate. Ask Travis Hunter about it. Has true deep ball tracking. Good route runner with clean, decisive breaks in zone feel, in space, twitchy for his size. He measured a little smaller than I thought. I think he was sub 6'2" at the combine. The cons, the route tree felt limited to a fault. Vertical separation was underwhelming for me, to be honest. Not an expected yak threat. 1,800 yards of total production. 566 of that was in yak production. So that's less than a third. And then he had a knee injury early in his college career where it messed up his ACL, MCL, PCL, and meniscus. So I'm worried about getting burnt by this guy. Like, you can't help but see, like, Alec Pierce out of Cincinnati a few years ago. So it's just fascinating to see where he goes because, again, like, he's a flavor, different type of flavor than the guys I normally attract to. So it'll be fascinating to see where he goes. And then my draft range was kind of the 60s to 100s.
Yeah. And I think, at least according to the NFL website, he had reached the exact 6'2" mark. That could be wrong. They might not have updated that. That hurt me to my soul. And that should be no surprise. I had made it very obvious that I was going to be just much higher on him. He is going to be my wide receiver 5A. 5 and 6, I just couldn't decide between, so I have a 5A and 5B. Anyone who knows me should not at all be surprised that I like him. I am a big fan of these very tall, long, fast players at my wide receiver and corner position, and that's exactly what he is. He has good size at 6'2". He has the ability to high point the catch, didn't always do it. I thought he was explosive and a good route runner. But again, he did have a limited route tree, which was just annoying. I also had that injuries listed on there. For a guy that was as athletic as I would have liked to see, I expected more yak out of him. And for a guy that has some of these very, very good highlight catches, you look at the Travis Hunter in Colorado tape where he just went over the top of Travis Hunter and did it. And I think he had a catch against Syracuse that was a one-handed catch for a touchdown. But for a guy that made a lot of these highlight grabs, he was more inconsistent catching the ball than what I would have liked, and he did struggle tracking that ball over the middle of the field. But at the end of the day, you are getting I think a plus athlete for his size at 6'2", and I do think he can be a very good boundary wide receiver. Again, he was able to do it against what will be the number 1 corner in this class. He put up 294 yards and 3 touchdowns in that Colorado game. I am absolutely in love with him, and I am not shy to have him ranked this high.
It's funny that you say that because he was also my 5. That's you pretty much matched everything. That route tree was one of the things that I was going to mention as well. But the other thing, I'll hit on just because you guys pretty much nailed all of it was, I think that, when it comes to him catching the ball, he tends to kind of move a little fast and move on before he catches the ball. So he's had some really bad drops So that's been something to where I feel like he can definitely, improve on. But I do like this man a lot, dude. Like he's a fun guy to watch on film. And so yeah, he's my 5.
He's a dunker, man.
Of all the guys, and you can say this about even like a Luther Burden and whatnot. It really made me appreciate good quarterback play, because watching that Stanford tape, it made me
like
mad.
The Ashton Daniels stuff.
Oh my, to Lord heavens! The quarterback play really stood out to me. He had like 840 yards, and I think he could have had so much more if he had a half decent quarterback. But yeah, he's my 5. Matt and Ryan, I think, have already given their 9, so I'll give my 9. A guy that I expect Matt to be higher on, and I really wanted to be higher on this guy. Just the way it rolled out and the guys that I like, I couldn't be. That's Jalen Royals. He was a lot of fun to watch on tape. He was some of the most fun I had watching any of these guys in this entire class. This guy is a natural hands catcher, and that was the very first thing that I had put on him. Vertical threat, just challenges everything deep, and he just looks fluid in just all of his movements he's making, and is a true yak threat. That being said, you have to question the competition coming out of Utah State. And then he had just a small route tree. Another guy that really struggled with concentration drops, which is funny because he has natural hands, but I think he was really worried about what he was going to do with the ball after he had caught it. And that took away his focus from actually catching the ball. And then he's just not a super physical guy. So I have him as, again, one of those guys that's going to be a true vertical threat and can really create yak with his athleticism, but may struggle because of his lack of physicality within his game.
Let me jump in here really quick, just because I had Royals at 6, a little bit higher on him than what you said. You said majority of it. I think that after the catch, I disagree. I think that I saw from what I had seen, him moving on, he was a little more dangerous to me. And his speed altogether was just, what other word can you use but explosive? You know what I mean? But nonetheless, I'm overall just very impressed by him. He was one of those.
He's not a yak threat?
No, I thought that you had said that he moved on too quick when he caught the ball.
No. I said he's a true yak threat, but I'm saying he was too worried about what he was going to do when he got the ball in his hands, and it led to concentration drops.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So, yeah, my bad. So, little misinformed there. I apologize.
I was like,
but
what?
I misinterpreted that. Yeah, that's my bad. But, yeah, no, with my notes with it, I overall, big picture, just like you said, I'm a fan of all the positives, that you had said. I guess, physicality with his releases can kind of be a problem at time for me. And not only that, but we were just talking about a route tree, for Ayomanor. I think that his can also get some developing. Not only that, one of the things that I've been looking at, just because, it was a topic of discussion for Ben Johnson and his guys, was blocking. And blocking for Royals is something that he can also kind of help out on, or get help out on the outside for that. But like you said, that concentration drops and stuff like that have definitely, been a weakness for sure. But I'm higher up on him. Maybe I'm lower on guys. I don't know, but I'm higher up on him than I am some other people. So
I'd imagine Matt is going to be right there with you.
Yeah, I've been at exactly 6 too.
Yep.
First pro was dynamic! ! Both stressing the defense downfield with his top end acceleration gear and ball tracking, and his yak stuff. Short area quickness and twitch off the line was in a tier with Travis for me. Like, that dude got off the line in a bolt of like a bolt of lightning. Truly for me. Love this guy. finds soft spots in the quick game frequently, has the strength and competitiveness at the catch point to be a real threat in contested catch for me. Unreal production, nearly 2,000 yards and 21 touchdowns in 20 games the last 2 years, but again, Utah State. But physicality and man coverage was my biggest thing. I think the contested catch stuff was pretty good, but the overall physicality and separation in man was where I was drawing the play strength concerns. Needs to be smarter with route releases. I think he got too predictable at times in creating that separation. If he figures that out, he's dynamic enough and has the short area stuff to really keep guys guessing, and he can create that separation. Off the line press will need to get better, but it flashed improvements at the Senior Bowl. I think him and Upton Stout out of Western Kentucky went at it a few times. So definitely intrigued to see if that can get better. And then foot injury ended season early, could be premature because Utah State had a subpar season. He wanted to focus on the draft because, he was at the Senior Bowl and he ran at the Combine. So yeah, I love Jalen Royals. My draft range, I have him late round 1 to mid round 2. I think someone's going to want this explosive play ability on their football team because we're in a race for explosives in the NFL, and I think this guy creates them both down the field and as a yak.
Awesome. Number 8, we'll start with Matt.
I already talked about Bech.
There you go. Ryan, who's your number 8?
It's Restrepo. I liked him.
Okay. Yeah, talk about him.
Yeah, so, I thought he was explosive as well. One of the things that really, really impressed me was his concentration in traffic. I value that a lot, especially, when somebody's trying to move up to that pro level. That's very, very valuable trait to have. He had really, really good production in the slot. Again, something that I'm hoping that is addressed. He also had a really good performance when plays broke down. So that's something that, I think is extremely valuable as well, because these things with the game evolving so much, you have these quarterbacks that have these plays break down so often, your Josh Allen's, Lamar Jackson's, Patrick Mahomes, Jayden Daniels, those quarterbacks. And so, I think that was overwhelmingly, good on his side. His weaknesses, I said that he was pretty limited at 5'10", just shorter arms, but his frame is really the biggest thing for me. And, I'm just going to say the same for him as I did for Bond. The undersized role versus bigger DBs is a concern to me. So, I'll just kind of leave it at that. But, I liked him.
Yeah, no, I think he has good play strength for his size. I think he's a very adequate route runner and has very short area quickness. And like I said, just a very tough guy. But again, I think he lacks the vertical threat that you need, the vertical speed you need at a very small size. And I think if you're drafting him, he is a slot-only player. That is the only position that he can play. I have him kind of my small write-up I have for him is just a very QB-friendly wide receiver who's going to excel in the short intermediate areas, but lacks the size and true athleticism to win downfield.
Yeah, that's fair. Ben, who was your 8?
8. Tre Harris, and it was kind of a full circle moment for me on Tre Harris. I started going into the year, I love Tre Harris, and then as the year went on, and as he got hurt, I was like, maybe not. And I had him. I think the way I do my scouting is I kind of have guys listed without watching any film, just based off of, the opinion I have already have on him just watching college tape, and then after I watch the film, I'll kind of order them up. And he actually started out outside of the top 10 for me, and now he's raised his way back up to 8 for me. Again, it's kind of a full circle moment. Again, if you know me, you're going to know that I covet the guys that are big and can run fast, and that is Tre Harris's MO. He's 6'3". I think he has very good body control, a very good catch radius. And with his athleticism, I think he's actually a very good yak threat and can create run after the catch. And he's a very good hands fighter, especially with those very physical corners that you see. But should come as no surprise to anyone that knows anything about Ole Miss football. He just has the most limited route tree you will ever see in your entire life. It's just going to be fades and goes and slants and curls, and that's all his route tree is going to be. We had the same conversation when we talked about Jonathan Mingo, and it's going to be the same conversation here. And because of that, I don't think he has a fully developed release package. Injury concerns is going to be a real thing. He had missed, I think it was a final 4 or 5 weeks of the season because of an injury. I think he lacks true explosion. And then just because of his route tree, I don't think he's developed a good feel within the zone. But overall, again, I think he, as at his size, he's a plus athlete that can create after the catch, but really needs true refinement in his zone work and route running. So, Tre Harris.
Matt, where'd you have him?
My
cat just jumped in my lap again. So
I had him just missed, but no. Again, he's in my long vertical athletes category. I think someone's gonna like the ability that he can do in playing X receiver. Overall, it's just the explosiveness. It's a thing for me. And then the tree, you mentioned it, man. Just not betting on the player to be a contributor right away. He's an older guy, so fascinating to see where he goes. I think he would be in the day 2-ish, round 3, late round 3.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of Troy Franklin.
I think he's better than Troy Franklin. I think he's more physical than Troy Franklin too.
Mm-hmm.
Troy Franklin was just
that's fair.
Skin and bones. So, did you have Tre Harris on your list?
I did.
11.
You did.
Yeah, he had 11. Right. Sorry.
I
think he was asking you. Yeah.
I was asking you, Ryan. I was asking you.
Oh. Yes, I had him at 7. Yeah. Just talking about my next guy, basically. Kind of keeping it short because you guys pretty much talked about it already. Good ball tracker, good body control to me, and just clutch. I mean, that was I literally put that in my notes, just clutch. And like I said, good blocker as well on that outside. He's a dog in that run game as well. So, but you guys already said it, limited route tree. The last thing that I want to say that's kind of a weakness to him is that he kind of rounds off his cuts a little bit. So that's not a great sign. But other than that, I was, again, impressed with him.
Nice. Who's your number 7, Matt?
Yeah.
My 7?
Yes.
Jalen Noel out of Iowa State. Is this the guy?
Yep.
Okay. Pros. I'll start with pros. Quick and sharp creator of space with top-of-the-line route running for me. Elite testing numbers from the combine, jumped over 40 in the vert, 11.2 broad, 6'8", 2-3 cone, running sub 4.4. You love it. Decisive off the line of scrimmage in route stems. And then the returner value flashed for me, so for some hopeful yards after catch value in the future. But the cons, they're easy. He's small, 5'10", sub 200, exclusive slot receiver. 70% of his snaps came in the slot. The catch radius is limited because of the small arms and wingspan, and he has the Bond thing. He gets overpaced, gets antsy, trying to get to the zone spots. So the only difference, while you're probably saying, Matt, why are you out on Tez Johnson and Restrepo when they're both exclusive slots, but you like Jalen Noel? Because I'm betting on the athlete and the space creator. That's it. I think this guy translates as a seam ball catcher and things like that I just project better than those two guys personally. So that's why I had him up at 7. I liked him. And I think his draft range is solidified day 2 because he could go after Bech or Ayomanor because he is exclusive slot. There's no, what you see is what you get with Jalen Noel. So not really creative, but I think he's a really, really good player.
Yeah. Did you have him ranked, Ryan?
No.
No. Okay, yeah, he's that 13 guy, the guy that a lot of people liked. That I went in, he was within that top 10 for me, and just as I had watched guys, he had just found his way dropping every single time I'd watched another guy. I mean, his positives are there, and he really does have positives, and I really don't think it's not that I like hate this play or anything. I just have my guys and type of player that I really like, and this class seems to have an abundance of them. Like Matt had said, I think he is a very good route runner, probably the best route runner in this entire class, and he is an explosive short area mover. Has a very good release package, and for his size at 5'10", I do think he was very competitive at the catch point. There were a lot of times on film where it's like, there's no way, and he ended up coming away with the ball, or at least really putting up a fight for it, which I did not expect for, again, a guy at 5'10", sub 200, as Matt had said. For his cons, again, it's the size, it's the 5'10". Again, he's slot only. He struggled heavy against press, which should not be, again, a surprise for anyone that is as small as him. Drops were an issue. He had 13 drops over the last 3 years. And he did run a good 40, which is a good thing. But on tape, that 40 did not translate. There were very few times on tape that I had seen him actually threatening anything deep with his speed. And that's kind of the flip on Tez. Tez did not run a good 40, and everyone was worried about covering Tez deep because he could do it. And that just wasn't there for Noel for me. And I struggled. I think he's a slot-only player, again, that creates very good separation with his feet and route running and quickness. He's the old adage for me, quicker than he is fast, but struggled with drops and has size concerns. And that's just why he found himself much lower on my list than what most people have him ranked. It's hard to be a small wide receiver, especially in this day. And again, for me on tape, not show that vertical threat. So that's why he found himself all the way down at 13 for me. So who is your 7, Ryan?
My 7 was Tre Harris.
Tre Harris. Awesome. Well, my 7 was Higgins. So it works out. Matt, who's your 6?
Royals.
Ryan?
Yep, mine too. Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Well, my 6, who will just end up being my 5B. And again, I have one guy ranked here that the other guys did not. We'll get into that conversation later. So that's why these guys are a little bit lower on my list. And these guys' lists is Emeka Egbuka. Again, he's kind of a little bit more of the opposite of Alec Ayomanor. This guy, you know what you're getting. He's a very high ceiling player within this class. He's a great route runner. He finds the spots in zone. He has strong hands, very good ball tracker, and a good blocker. He's just very gritty within the run game, which I would hope so when you have 2 very good backs that Ohio State had. That being said, I don't think he is a high-end athlete. He has injury concerns, and he is 6'1", and he just didn't use his full catch radius as much as I would have liked out of him. And again, I think he is going to be one of those old adages, the quarterback's best friend, because he's going to be in the right place at the right time, and he's going to do everything correctly. He's just a very high IQ player. Again, you really know what you're getting when you're drafting this guy. Obviously, you can say this about a lot of guys, and it turns out to not be good, but I find it hard for me to say that he's at least not going to be a very good wide receiver 3 just because he knows, again, exactly what he needs to do, and again, always finds himself within the right spot. So Emeka Egbuka 5B for me.
Matt, you want to go ahead?
Matt.
Yeah, I had Egbuka at 3 pretty easily. Smooth gliding receiver when he gets rolling off the line of scrimmage. Well-built lower half gives him good size in contested catch situations. Route running is professional. Has quick breaks with the littlest of sloppiness and the zone spot feel. And then ball tracking was a plus. Cons, I completely agree with the high-end stuff. The high-end athletic stuff. To be a volume point of your offense in the explosive category and the yak category, I am completely in agreement with you. It's hard to imagine Emeka Egbuka catching 80 balls for you. I think he's gonna catch 60 and he's gonna be creating some big play, creating some stuff 15 to 20 yards in the middle of the field, things like that. Has a tight frame on high pointed situations. That was a thing with me. If Will Howard overshot him, it got out of hand quickly. Gets caught thinking at times, trying to create the perfect route. He's so professional. He's trying too hard to create perfect all the time, and he doesn't want to get thrown off the spot. Sometimes guys jam you off your spot within the 5 yards, especially in the NFL. So that's something I want to see him work on. And then lastly, is he a slot? My answer is probably. But I want to try him on the boundary because of his strengths, running some dig routes. So that's Emeka Egbuka. I had him at 3.
He pretty much nailed it. I mean, when it comes to me, I had him at 4, so not too far away from you. I also, again, I'm not going into this thinking, OSU guys are the best just because they won a national championship. I love my team, but I'm not going to do that. So, you know, when it comes to that, though, when it comes to him, though, you nailed it. My notes are pretty much spot on. I don't know. I'm jumbled because my cat came in here and my notes are all messed up. So, anyway, yeah, Emeka Egbuka, good. I'll just go with that for now. But yeah, my top 5 guys, I would argue, like, I don't dislike any of these guys. You know what I mean? I'm kind of bummed out when it comes to Egbuka just because it's like I feel like this year kind of hurt his draft stock a little bit. I feel like if he would have come out last year, it would have definitely helped him. But I could see him being picked in the first round still. I mean, you know, he's got a shot. We'll see. I don't know.
That's my draft range.
For him, it was a good bounce back year. So in 2023, we're like, so good. And then in 2022. And then in 2023, we're like, I don't know. And then this past year, we're like, okay, he's a lot closer to the guy that we had saw in his sophomore year than he was the guy that we saw in his junior year. So he got himself back up to where we had thought, especially after a little bit of a rough year the year prior. So wide receiver 5. Who's wide receiver 5 for everyone?
I had Higgins.
Mine was
and you had Ayomanor.
Yeah.
I'm assuming number 4 is going to be the same for all of us. So it's only right that Matt kicks it off with this guy because he knows a thing or two about him.
Yeah, Matthew Golden at 4. Pros, short area separation, explosive in his breaks within that 10 to 15 yard limit in creating his separation. Long speed and explosiveness downfield. He flashed into the combine in a real way. I thought he was going to sneak into the 4.3s. He ended up sneaking into the 4.2s. So just impressive stuff. Flashes the late hands and body control when he stacks and wins in the short area stuff. Also had a lot of tracking pluses when the ball was underthrown. Thank you, Quinn Ewers. Route running instincts such as burst and twitch were on display. Took over big games. Watching as a Texas fan, took over the SEC title game. Took over the Peach Bowl. 4th and 13 will be remembered forever. And then he only had 2 catches against Ohio State, but they were both explosives, both over 20 yards. So, again, has that clutch gene. Again, the cons, against longer physical corners, the downfield stuff can get swallowed up. The catch radius gets severely limited, and hard, high-pointed throws are the only way to manipulate that. play strength in all is going to be a minus at this point. At the top of his routes with conviction and boundary. Drop rate was a problem, mostly concentration drops, but in all, can clean it up to create some of the yak stuff in the short area stuff. So overall, I liked Golden. I think his draft range is fascinating for me. I have it listed as 12 to 40-ish because I really think if you put him in Dallas, that it's like, okay, we have the perfect kind of skill set to complement with CD and stuff Dak likes, over the middle, short area stuff, and get upfield and get the yak. So I was just fascinated with that fit overall, and I think people are really, really going to like him because of what he did at the combine, but it didn't change the tape for me. It just went, oh, you can do the downfield stuff. You know?
Yeah. No,
No, go for it.
I'm right there. He's 4 for me. The only reason, again, he's 4 for me, different 4 than you guys, because I have him again in front of Egbuka. I have that wide receiver that we will get to, that you guys didn't have ranked for good reason. Again, it's the same thing. I'm just gonna bet on more of the athlete, and that's why he's gonna be in front of Egbuka for me. Again, I thought he was a good route runner. He had good quickness. He showed good long speed. And he was, again, kind of the go-to guy when you needed it the most within that offense. He struggled with drops a little bit. For a guy who's athletic as he is, I would have hoped to see more yak out of him. And again, he struggled a little bit more with those more physical corners. But yeah, wide receiver 4 for me as well.
I had him at 3 because I had Egbuka at 4. So those guys are like interchangeable. Okay. I feel pretty strongly about both of them. Same reasons that, you say, if I were to give him any kind of negatives, I mean, in my limited amount of weaknesses that I had put him in there, it's the medical history with the foot surgery in 2023 and that rib injury as well. I mean, these injuries happen, so it's kind of like I'm just trying to grasp at straws here. I mean, you're in the top 3 for me at this point, so it's like I'm trying to find. I like these guys. I like to watch them on film. This is fun. So it's like I'm trying to find reasons why I don't like them, and it's like the injury, I guess. I mean, concentration drops are another factor. If I were to say something, but not as much of a factor as the other guys that we talked about lower on the top 10 or top 10 big board. So he's my 3. I think my top 2 are pretty self-explanatory, right? Would have to be.
Yeah, we're gonna have the same 2.
Okay. I would have all 3 of us. I would assume, right? Ben, you still there?
Give me 1 second here, guys. My audio cut out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Impeccable timing from the kid that doesn't he can't hear. I just want to add that. That's incredible.
He saw you talking. I have 3 guys left. Ben's gonna have the same 3 guys, so I'll just get into my 2 because I had a Egbuka 3, Luther Burden out of Mizzou. The pros, yak, and more yak. Impressively built lower half with elite play strength and for the size and the position. Great ball skills in downfield contested situations. I wasn't stunned by it watching him in 23, but I was shocked to see it. Shows the athletic ability in his twitch, separation patterns, and explosiveness in the yak game, and then effort in the blocking game is a walking in the building plus. Cons, top end speed, breaks at the top of routes will need to get better. Just overall, be more creative when you're creating that separation. He has the athletic ability for me. Runs around. He does the thing with receivers where he's trying to run around, trying to create the explosive. I don't know if it was because of Mizzou or anything else besides that, but there's times where it's like just run forward and get the 2, and he runs backwards and he's taking a 3-yard loss because he's just trying to do too much. And then the last con, like, he's not going to be for everybody. He's probably an exclusive slot gadget guy. because he did that in college. I really like him. I think the size is enough just because he's a thick guy that I think you could stick him on the boundary, but X maybe not, and the top end acceleration prohibits the Z. So it's going to be fascinating who drafts him and fits the just fits the fit. He is hyper specific. I think he's just very, very good. Uh, he's in my draft range. He's a top 20 pick. If he gets past the Broncos, I'd be stunned. I really think this guy is that good. Um, is there anything to add?
Yeah, it was funny because when I had logged back in, I'm wondering who they're talking about, and then when Matt had mentioned, it wasn't the word he used; it's the word that I tend to use. When Matt had said the Superman ball, I knew exactly who you guys were talking about there. Yeah, no, I mean, again, I wasn't really here for your guys to, the pros for him. But again, I'm sure you guys had touched on it. Elite quickness, very good tackle breaker, very, very good yak ability, and has good ball tracking ability. Again, to that yak ability, uh, like Matt had said, he plays a little bit of that superhero ball, that Superman ball, where he tries to get more than what's there, and again takes that 2-yard gain into a 3-yard loss, like Matt had said. I'm right there with you. I think he's probably a slot only guy, and then I do think he struggled a little bit with press. But I kind of have him as a slot / gadget guy, and that's not a knock. Slot / gadget guy who's going to be making his money in the yak and explosive game.
Yeah, I mean, can't emphasize enough on the yak for this guy. I mean, we're yakking it up right now, guys. This is, I mean, it's Luther Burden. That's what he does. The guy is a physical guy. I mean, he's got a great build going into the next level. And I mean, if I were to say anything, about it, I know we talked briefly about route tree for a couple guys. That's one of the things that I would say. But again, it's my top 3. I like these guys a lot. You guys pretty much nailed it on the head.
Yes. And then we can go ahead. Luther Burden was number 3 for me. We can go ahead and we can get everyone's number 1 guy, and I'll save the conversation for number 2 after we talk about Tet. But Matt, take it away.
Tet McMillian out of Arizona. Long and wiry. Provides advantages in his 50-50 balls. He turns those opportunities into 60-40s in favor of him. Great route runner for a guy he's huge. He's 6'4",
6'5",
has deceptive breaks to create the space for himself against man. Wins with the hands consistently instead of catching with the body. Creates yak opportunities, and then body control at the size was such a plus. And he finds zone spots. Man, he's got the size. He's got the smarts, and he's got the deceptiveness to create that separation. The cons, exposed to the chest at the line of scrimmage, leaving him susceptible to true aggressive press man corners. I thought that was an issue. He's a fine athlete, but again, makes sense due to the large frame he possesses. Effort in the blocking game. For a huge receiver, I want you to have more effort, much like Higgins. Provide more effort just to play strength overall. That's into the next point. Down to count, physicality is a minus. So there's not much to. I think we're nitpicking with Tet at this point. I think he's a solidified number 1 receiver in this class, and I really believe his draft range is top 15 because so many opinions have come out on Tet, and some people don't like him, this and that.
Wild to me.
If he was put in last year's class with the 3 guys last year, Marv and Malik are still in their own tier, but he would be in the same tier with Adunze for me. That's where I'm at with him. I still think this is a bona fide top 10 guy, and bordering on top 5 because of A, needs, and B, lack of blue chip talent. Like, he plays a valuable position, and he's a valuable asset because of his unique size and ability. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely. I mean, this guy has been my number one wide receiver since day one. Going into the season, there's conversations about Burden and Tet. Again, to no one's surprise, I'm always going to favor the bigger guy. So that's why Tet has been number one wide receiver for me since day one and has not budged at all. Matt had said everything that you had wanted to see. He big frame, amazing catch radius. Again, really turns those 50-50 balls into those 60-40 balls. And for his size, he's a fluid athlete. And I think he can find that spot in the zone very, very well. And again, to the concerns, he's a big frame, but not a big frame. I would like to see him put on maybe a little bit more weight if it wouldn't affect his athletic ability. Again, you get into a bit of a questions if he puts on a little bit more muscle, how is that going to affect his movement ability? So again, really nitpicking, I'd like to see him put on that more frame so he can be that better blocker, like you had said. I think sometimes he relies on his frame a bit too much. And then again, doesn't really snap off the breaks that you would like. And again, not this like elite speed, but again, I think that's fine because he's going to win downfield just fine with his size. Again, a true possession catch jump ball wide receiver who has the potential to be just one of the better number one wide receivers in the whole league, just due to his size and ability to win at the catch point.
This is a guy, I mean, obviously New England's where everybody's mocking him to, right? But, I just want to talk about how, Vegas needs a receiver. It'd be cool to see him go there. But I want to see him go to, like, Carolina, where he can be, like, a number one guy for, Bryce Young, where, I know he has Thielen, and I know Leggett showed a little bit, but to me, that's where you can kind of shine for McMillian. And I just don't see him falling all the way down to 8. But we'll see.
It actually shocks me. Me and Matt had a conversation about like roughly our top 5 to 6 players within this class. And Tet is firmly within that conversation for me. Just due to his ability and then the lack of for other players. But there are a lot of guys that are not as high on Tet as we are. I mean, some guys don't even have Tet as wide receiver 1. So it kind of shocks me the kind of the range in which people talk about for him. And then finally, we'll call it the mystery number 2 guy, but it's not really a mystery at all if you follow the draft.
Let's have the discussion.
A little bit. Yeah, let's have the discussion. Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter will be graded for me in both categories. He will be my number 1 corner. Surprise, surprise. He's my number 2 wide receiver in this class. He has very, very good ball skills, elite athleticism, very, very quick, very long, and has very, very good football IQ. The 2 negatives, and again, you're really nitpicking here with this guy because Travis Hunter is that special of an athlete. I think he has a thin frame. Look at him. Anyone could tell you that. And then I think he lacks that just elite level speed, but that's fine. I think he's going to be adequate at that. Again, I'll have him ranked in both. I think the wide receiver for him is his more natural position, but I think he benefits from playing from both sides of the ball. I think he, again, on both sides of the ball, attacks that position from both the wide receiver and cornerback mindset. As a cornerback, he knows what to look for and what the wide receiver is going to do, and vice versa. As a wide receiver, he knows what to look for, what the corner is going to do. I really think he could do both ways. I think if we're going to play him both ways, his position does need to be corner, because I think it is a lot easier for him to be corner and moonlight him in sub packages as a wide receiver, because he won't be playing 95% of the snaps like he did in college. As much as he wants you to believe that's what he's going to do, it just will not happen due to the physicality of the NFL. But if you truly just want to say we think you are this very good wide receiver prospect, I'm totally fine with that as well. I think he could absolutely do that as well. But if he's going to go both ways, I do think he's probably a corner that moonlights at wide receiver sub packages. But your guys' thoughts on him, because you guys didn't have him ranked here.
I will be grading him as a corner this year.
That's fair. The pros for Hunter, he was the first one I did this process for, kind of getting all the write-ups for the receivers, man. Top of the line ball skills, both in downfield explosive and finishing in the red zone. In quotation, some of the best I've ever seen for his frame. He was insane. Real deal twitch off the line in quick separation situations, explosiveness as a ball carrier with contact balance in the screen game. Zone feel is translated in his cornerback background, finds the spots, and he sits down with authority. Sometimes Shedeur didn't see him, but there were reps. He would run with full effort and not get the ball, and he was kind of like, all right, I gave it my all on that one. Like, give me the ball. The cons, the top end speed is a question. We still haven't seen him run, so like I think we're all just anxious. We all just want to see what the number says on the sheet of paper. Like, I think he is quick and athletic. It's just seeing the number on a piece of paper would be nice for everybody. Small and slight for a traditional X. 6 foot, 3/8, 188. So press reps are going to be a question at the next level, obviously. Separation against true man coverage wasn't pristine. And, like, he had low effort snaps. But, again, that could be due to the fact he's playing 100 snaps. And, you know, he's got to win the Heisman off of the snaps. So it's just, he's fascinating, man. Like, it is so fun to have a draft where Travis Hunter is in it because this guy is one of the best prospects at both positions. And if I'm picking, if I get to pick, I want him at receiver. I'll be honest. I think the receiver stuff is very, very special. And the corner stuff is great, but I think we're in a world where, I said it with the coaching hires, I think the thing that keeps you around longer and longer is being able to have guys who create explosive offense. And I think Hunter does that. Overall, like, I think he could be a great corner, and that's likely where I think he's going to go. I think he's going to go to corner and be what you said, Ben. He's going to be sub-packaged as a receiver and play snaps here and there, maybe get 40 catches a season, something like that. You know, we got third down packages for Travis, so it's not an extreme playbook for him. But overall, I want to see him at receiver. He reminds me a lot of Devontae Smith coming out, another Heisman winner. So it's going to be a fascinating conversation, especially who takes him, especially if he goes at 1, because, you know, is it Tennessee going like, who cares if we need an explosive offense and if we need a true lockdown corner with Snead already there. It's fascinating. So, yeah.
I mean, you could say the same thing about the Giants as well. They can use it on both ends, even though they just drafted Neighbors in the first round there.
That top 3 easily.
He's just one.
I don't know how to talk about him because we've never seen him.
Exactly.
And we will never see him.
No.
So it's all going to be fascinating on draft night because, like, all the questions are going to be, what are you going to do? What are you? And, like, the little ticker's going to pop up, and it's going to see wide receiver DB. Like, it's just fascinating.
You know, and I was going to say one of the most intriguing prospects I've ever scouted. He is the most intriguing prospect I've ever scouted because his ability to go both ways. And I mean, as a wide receiver, and we'll wrap it up because it's a long show. I mean, you look at it as a wide receiver for both good and bad, and we had talked about it when we had talked about Shedeur. Again, go watch quarterback rankings. He was the safety valve in that offense. If nothing was going, Shedeur said, screw it. Travis is down there somewhere. And to be frank, it worked more often than it didn't. And that just goes to show you how good of a wide receiver he is. And I don't think he would complain if he spent most of his time at a wide receiver strictly because these guys are making $30 million a year versus what corners are making.
Yeah.
But again, he's so fun, and you guys will see me have a write up with him at the corner position as well. So you'll see it both. But he's so much fun. But yeah. But thank you guys for making it this fun.